Okay, so we are to the first story in the novel. Title of that story is Keeper of the Magic. This was the first story I wrote in college, knowing I wanted to write this thing. My freshman year, and the story was so good, my professor told me not to come to class normally, to show up every Friday with progress on all my writing and everything. The story really did launch whatever bizarre career I have had. And it was the foundation every time I thought I could not write this fucking thing. I would remember the characters in here. I read this one, well, when I was younger, I read it a lot out loud. It's been a long time since I've read it out loud all the way through. So here we go. Keeper of the Magic. Mother and I moved to a small town outside of Baton Rouge. It was only big enough to sustain at one general store. You could pick up a battery for your truck or a nice chunk of white chocolate and a barber shop. Mom was never home. Home was a trailer hooked to the water behind a friend's house that we rented out by the month. She usually left me $1 and held the faith that I would fend for myself. Every morning I would wake up, see that lonely dollar on the shaky, uneven kitchen table, and wonder how in the hell she expected me to eat on that. I spent the beginning of the summer fishing in the little creeks and streams that make up Louisiana. The bayou was another world to me. One step into the woods and you were sucked into the deep mysteries of the murky black waters. You could sit on the banks and stare down into the water and watch it ripple with things unknown, but that could fuel the imagination forever. There are more legends to these waters than people, and when you're a child, this mystery ignites your curiosity. I found an old Zebco fishing reel in the guy's garage where our trailer sat. I dug up some worms in the new planted garden and ventured out into the woods. I loved sitting underneath the willows. I didn't really care if I caught anything or not. It was just being there that made it so special. High noon, when the fish stopped biting, I would put my pole down and walk through the woods, jumping over dead trees, climbing up live ones. I thrived in this freedom, sucked in its very essence, but it all vanished as I returned to that empty, dirty trailer, waiting for me like the reality at a good daydream. As the summer grew into one giant inferno, I ventured less and less into the woods. The heat was unbearable. Plus the mosquitoes and snakes took over. It wasn't fun slapping my flesh and watching every step. Water moccasins are very moody snakes, and one false move and you can find yourself in a heap of trouble. I spent more and more time at the general store. Buck, the owner, never came right out and said, "I feel for you." He didn't have to. After seeing that look enough times, I knew what it meant. "Well, gee, I feel sorry for you. I wish there was something I could do, but you know, there's something tells me not to." That's the way it was. Kids would play with me for a while, and then their parents would tell them not to hang around me. White trash and all. That boy's trouble, and stay away. But Buck, he was different. I would sweep or run errands in return. Sorry. Flashback. Hang on. I would sweep or run errands. In return, he would give me a Mountain Dew or a sandwich. He would tell me dirty jokes. Most of them I didn't get, but would laugh anyway because they made Buck laugh, and me a part of his world. There was an old man who sat on the porch of the store. He didn't talk to me, so I didn't talk to him. Therefore, I didn't pay attention to him. I didn't look at people for fear that they would call me names. White trash, piece of shit, dirty boy, Yankee white ass. All of these names rang in my ears even when there was nobody there. It got so bad I would even flinch when somebody just yelled a happy, "Hey!" I had just finished sweeping the store when Buck came around the corner and threw a Mountain Dew my way. He ruffled my hair and told me to sit out on the porch and take a break. I walked outside, sat down on the step, and sucked the Mountain Dew down with a happy gasp and smack of my lips. Did that a lot. I heard a voice behind me that sounded like it belonged on an old, scratchy 45. "Ooh, been watching you for some time now, Peanut." The Cajun accent was so strong I could barely understand what the man was saying. I turned around, and sitting on an old, beaten-up wicker rocking chair was the most intriguing man I had ever laid eyes upon. He was a short, stout, dark-skinned man. He had bone-white hair that twisted into tight curls, and you couldn't tell where one began and the other ended. He had plump arms that rested on his lap, and he wore dark cut-off shorts that showed plump legs. A pale white smile glowed on his face. It was like he knew a joke no one else knew. But what caught my attention were his eyes. All I saw was white. The way he looked at me gave me an eerie feeling, like I was being judged. From where I sat on the porch, I was looking up at him, and somehow at that angle, I felt weak, alone. "Yeah, I talking to you. Don't stare all day, Peanut," he said, laughing, those wide eyes staring at me. "My name's not Peanut," I said. "Don't be small. Your name's what I call you, yeah. Your name is Peanut to me." "What happened to your eyes?" I asked. "Ah, to see with a child's eyes again. Not afraid to ask anything. I tell you, but come closer. I need to get a better look at you, yeah," he said, waving his hand towards me. I walked over and sat on the edge of the porch, feet dangling in the dirt. "That's better." He paused and took a drink from the red-striped beer beside his chair. "God don't want me to see with my eyes. I born in the dark, yeah. He wished me to see with my heart, and that's what I do, yeah. Name's Frenchy." He held out his hand. I grabbed his sandpaper hand and squeezed like my grandfather had taught me to. "There's power in that grip, yeah. You may not be the pissant everyone say you are, yeah." He grew quiet. He grew quiet, rocking back and forth in that chair, laughing to himself. I sat and stared. After some time of just sitting, I felt uncomfortable and stood up to go back inside the store. "Sit down, Peanut." I sat. "I will tell you a tale of rust. I will show you your keeper. Then at night I will show you your maker. Then I will ask you, which one do you trust?" The chair squeaked out an eerie tune as Frenchy spoke, catching the words just right and emphasizing their eeriness all the more. He leaned forward and looked right at me. "I hear about you. People talk in this town," he was whispering. "They think you a good one gone bad, yeah. Bad seed. Maybe we change that, yeah. Come by tomorrow, we sit and talk for a while. Maybe talk of the days when dreams were real." He leaned back and looked up at the sky, rocking in that chair, laughing. All right, I'll pause there, and I'll be back.